Welcome to channel. Today, we explore story filled with unexpected twists. Please, subscribe and like to stay updated. Let's begin. I recall several occasions when my father delivered life lessons while working on the antique radio in his workshop. Those moments were both peaceful and wise, reminding me that life's path may be unpredictable and put your commitment to the test. Years later, even after ID moved into my own house, I still felt prepared. One crisp October morning, I went about my typical weekend routine, enjoying the sun as I polished my 2006 Charger SRT8. While some found calm in golf or hiking, I found it in vehicle washing, where my mind could travel freely. I had become used to considering each day as a gift, not realizing how dramatically things were about to change. The weather prediction predicted a rare run of pleasant autumn days, allowing me to spend more time with my Mustang before transitioning to my winter Jeep Cherokee. As I was organizing my auto supplies, a car abruptly came to a halt in front of my home. It was Denise, my mother-in-law. Her face flushed and tear-stained. She raced toward me and held me, sobbing wildly. "Come inside," I said quietly. I led her into the kitchen and put her down. "Would you like some tea?" I inquired as she whispered between her tears. After relocating her vehicle and summoning my wife, Lena, downstairs, I returned with tea and chocolate cake. Denise and Lena sat close together, looking more like sisters than mother and daughter. At 30 and 40, they had the same towering body and long hair, with Denise showing just a few symptoms of aging. "Thank you, Derek," Denise said, her voice cracking. "Lena, you're lucky to have him. You'll never know what it's like to find out your husband is cheating." I wasn't expecting that. Alan, Lena's father, was unfaithful. Denise, who remained attractive and nice, deserved better. Lena attempted to explain, claiming that males are inherently predisposed to transmit their genes, a principle she had learned in college. Society excuses men for it, but condemns women, she made clear. "It's not about other men," Denise said, her voice shaking. "It's about your father, who promised to be loyal." The doorbell rang, reducing the tension. I opened the door to discover Alan, who looked dejected. "Is Denise here?" he inquired cautiously. I nodded and went outside, allowing him in. I picked up the hose and continued washing my vehicle, hoping to clear my thoughts. When laughing erupted behind me, I turned around. Lena threw her arms around me and rested her head on my shoulder. "Derek, do you love me?" she inquired. "Of course, Lena, you know that," I corrected her. "I'm going through a family crisis, and I need your help," she explained. "Can you cook the steaks and help calm my mom down? They might actually get divorced this time." "Has this happened before?" I inquired. "Yes, several times," Lena said. "They love each other but can't stop this cycle. Dad seems serious about changing now. He even suggested getting help, which he's always resisted. But it seems my mom is reaching her limit. Maybe she should have reached it sooner," I corrected her. "What do you mean?" Lena inquired, shocked. "They're adults, Lena. They have to face the consequences of their choices. Maybe if your mom hadn't tolerated this for so long, your dad would have realized sooner that he'd pay a price for his actions." Lena's eyes filled up with tears. I embraced her. "It'll help," I responded. "Derek, this is easy for you," she sobbed. "Your parents were perfect. You've never faced this. I don't want my parents to split. I want our future kids to have loving grandparents and for us to be one big family." "Okay, honey, I'll grill the steaks. You talk to your mom, and I'll talk to your dad. When dinner's ready, we can all sit on the terrace and get them to talk." I didn't quite agree, but I loved Lena too much to refuse. I understand her desire to keep her family intact. Many of us do. We hold our parents to a certain standard, even if it means overlooking their imperfections in order to maintain harmony. I spent the day with my father-in-law, talking about my Mustang and trying to listen while he brags about an 80s Pontiac Firebird, which I knew didn't exist. He turned the conversation to sports and grilling, as if he were an expert on being a male. I played along, despite the fact that I'd rather be cleaning my vehicle. "So, what's going on with you and Denise?" I eventually inquired. He looked surprised and nearly broke down. "I never meant to hurt her," he said. "She wasn't supposed to find out." I could not believe him. If he didn't want to harm her, why would he betray her? I remained cool, even though I was enraged inside, seeing him harming Lena in the same manner. Denise, I believed, deserved better, someone who would have loved her, such as my father or Uncle Leon. But I smiled at him, concealing my genuine sentiments. About an hour later, Denise and Lena joined us on the patio. We ate, and our supper was wonderful. Alan had perfected the expression of a sorrowful dog. He spewed more rubbish than a herd of cattle. Part of my problem is that in recent years, I've drifted away from the church, he told me. I need a dose of a good book to get me back on track. I peered at him from the other end of the table, almost expecting him to be hit by lightning. When that didn't happen, I cried, sorry, and dashed inside, down to the basement. I closed every door behind me and hid my face in a cushion on the sofa. I laughed till I wept. He was attempting to say something that he believed would redeem him. When I finally finished laughing, my eyes were still moist and my face was red. I returned and sat down at the table. Lena gave me an odd expression. Alan's look was as innocent as new snow, as if he was expecting to be declared a saint. Denise gazed at me, making me uncomfortable. Her look spoke it all. She was in tremendous emotional distress, on the edge of cutting this guy out of her life permanently, and she was hoping Lena and I would help her make the correct decision. So, Derek, do you think counseling could be the answer? She inquired. I glanced at Alan, who gave me a subtle nod, and then at Lena, who hoped to restore her parents' marriage. She nodded almost faintly. Then I met Denise's gaze. There was no indication of deception. I lied. Counseling is meant to help you work through problems in your marriage, I told you. A good therapist can sometimes help you see things about yourself and the relationship that might go unnoticed. They help you spot behavior patterns that aren't obvious. It was not completely untrue. I had heard that on a treatment program on the Science Channel, so it was most likely accurate in some circumstances. Denise believed me. She nodded and said, okay, well, try. She stretched across the table to hold Alan's hand and smiled. Lena glanced at me, beaming with happiness. I felt nauseous. Sometimes I am a predator. I avoid veggies and solely eat meat so that I may have more steak or roast. But that day, I almost gagged. I felt bad about what I'd done. Sorry to interrupt, ladies, I said, but I need to show Alan something about my car. I took Alan to the garage as they cleaned the table and filled the dishwasher. Hey, your car's not in here, he added, smiling. It's in the driveway, I answered. I grabbed him by the collar and pushed him hard into the garage wall, causing the clock to fall and smash on the floor. Listen carefully, I said quietly. This is the first and last time I lie to save your sorry cheating self. If you hurt her again, you'll have bigger problems than divorce. Understand? He nodded swiftly. I shoved him against the wall again for emphasis before we walked back inside. They don't make them like that anymore, Alan, I said, returning to the kitchen with a grin. Alan attempted to smile, but his head ached and he was shocked. Nobody had ever talked to him in that manner. Lena stepped out of the pantry and observed something I didn't. Dad, you've got a bump on your head, daughter told me. Where did that come from? Are you okay? I laughed. A clock fell off the wall and hit Alan while we were in the garage. His head's as tough as a rock. Alan nodded automatically. A month and a half later, 3 days after Christmas, I was clutching Denise's hand as we entered the morgue. The room was unusually chilly, and a guy who seemed nearly as dead as the corpses he cared for welcomed us. I'm sorry for your loss, he murmured, with a grin that was neither warm nor reassuring. It simply seemed scary. He brought us to an elevated table and removed the sheet with such skill that an illusionist would be envious. I nearly expecting him to yell, voila. The feelings varied as we gazed at Alan's dead corpse. Lena dropped on the floor and sobbed. Denise nodded before turning away. I plunged into shock, my mind whirling with ridiculous ideas. The corpse did not seem as dirty, black, or bloody as I had expected. Then it dawned on me. The corpse had most likely been prepared for autopsy. The gunshot wounds were jagged slits rather than clean circles as shown in movies. It was evident that whomever did this was severely disturbed. Can you identify the deceased? The morgue attendant inquired. Denise and Lena nodded regretfully. I'm sorry for your loss. Have a good day, he added as he turned away. Denise and I grasped Lena's arms and ushered her out. The detective who had brought us was waiting. He put on his hat and approached us. So, the deceased was your husband? He inquired. Denise nodded and squeezed my hand. When he didn't come home from work, I got worried. Alan always called, she told me. The investigator sat down and gave us a drink. I refused after looking at the antique coffee maker. Whatever happened to him? Lena inquired. I can't share all the details, but it'll be in the news soon. Your husband, your father, was found shot at the Seaside Motel. A woman there with him said her husband burst in, found them together, and shot your father 8 times before using the last bullet on himself. Denise's calm demeanor cracked as we left the detective's office, and she sobbed on my shoulder. I brought them home and tried to console them. Friends and neighbors stopped by to offer their sorrow. My neighbor, Amber, brought over a basket of snacks. She gave me a hug and asked how I was doing. Amber was stunning, with short blonde hair and a tight yet curvaceous shape. She was the sort who could talk, do sports, and then dress up to appear lovely. "How are you holding up?" she inquired. I shrugged. "It's okay. We're friends," she said. "I saw Alan here often, chatting with you while you worked on your Mustang. If my husband spent as much time on me as you do on that car, I'd be thrilled." "Amber," I whispered, "I couldn't stand him. He was a chronic cheater, and it was just who he was." She chuckled. "And Denise is very kind," I said. "Once she gets over this, she'll be better off." "You're wrong," she said. "Women, especially of her generation, don't move on. He was her first everything. She loved him no matter what. Without him, she'll be lost." Amber was partially incorrect. Denise's animosity toward Alan grew. Initially, she refused to attend his burial. I persuaded her to go for Lena's sake. Lena was unhappy with both of us. I didn't want to speak at Alan's funeral since I didn't have anything positive to say. One of his pals performed the honors. His eulogy was revealing. "We're here to say goodbye to Alan Bauer. Alan was Alan. You should have known him. After 40 years of friendship, he couldn't think of anything kind to say." Denise's life was difficult after the funeral. Small things, such as TV episodes about adultery, enraged her. Lena and I would frequently talk about how we might assist her. Lena appeared to move on more readily since Alan was no longer a part of her everyday life. 3 months later, we organized a party with friends and invited every suitable male we could think of for Denise. At 40, she seemed younger, more like Lena's sister. The problem was not a lack of males, they were interested. It was Denise. She was kind and polite, but she didn't know how to flirt or mingle. When she began dating at 21, Alan, who was already divorced twice by the age of 28, charmed and married her. He was the only guy she had ever known. Denise wasn't sure how to negotiate the social scene. We did not expect immediate results and anticipated that several meetings would be required before we saw any improvement. The problem arose after the celebration. While cleaning up, I saw Lena's phone on the counter. It buzzed with a fresh message: "Meet me tomorrow at the same spot at 15. Shocked, I read through the previous messages and discovered Lena had been making arrangements with another guy. My mind whirled. How did this happen? We had a highly busy relationship. When did she have time for someone else? Holding the phone made me feel ill and dumb. Lena had justified Alan's adultery, claiming it was in his character. Perhaps she was comparable to him. I was supposed to behave like Denise, welcoming and forgiving. Denise loved Alan despite everything and forgiven him many times. Perhaps her greatest rage sprang from her inability to forgive him one last time after his death. Lena smiled as she interrupted my thoughts. "You're not helping clean up, but that's okay. Let's go to the bedroom. I need to work on the brakes," I said, seeing her expression change from disappointment to fury. "How long will it take?" she inquired. "All night if I do them all," I said. "Can we try tomorrow?" she said, hesitantly. "Maybe I have other plans tomorrow," she added, smiling. Her remarks made me enraged. I knew something was wrong, and whatever was going on would stop immediately. "I wish you'd just come to bed," she said. "I need to work on the brakes after hosting your mom's party all day. I told you. If you love me, you'll wait," she said. "If you love me, you'll let me finish," I said. "What's wrong, Derek?" she inquired. "Usually, you're always interested, and today, after helping my mom, you're not. Women today kept telling me how lucky I am to have you," she said. Even Amber joked about what she'd do if I wasn't around. "Things can wait until tomorrow," I murmured before walking away. "Okay," she yelled after me. I recognized her haste stemmed from the fact that she would not be interested tomorrow. She pretended to be weary after meeting the guy at the hotel. Maybe I was overthinking things, but I recalled a tale from a program about a jealous guy who damaged a vehicle believing his wife was cheating, only to discover she had purchased it as a present for him. It ended in a divorce. The next morning, I went to work as normal. Lena prepared breakfast and bent down to serve bacon. I hugged and kissed her. "So, last night your car won, but today you're ready?" she said. "Sorry," I apologized. "I love you, Lena," I said as I kissed her passionately. "What's gotten into you this morning?" she said, smiling. I just wanted you to know how much I appreciate you, I added, trying to prevent her from making a bad choice. If I was mistaken, no damage was done. I proceeded to work and concentrated on my chores, completing early at 14:33. I left. Lena yelled as I went outside. Hey, darling, she said. Want to have lunch? Sure, I said, relieved. At home or out? Wait, I have another call, she said, hesitating. She returned moments later. Can we reschedule for tomorrow? Mom needs me. They'll be busy tomorrow, I said before hanging up. I phoned Denise. Hello, how are you today? She inquired happily. Better after talking to my favorite brother-in-law, she quips. I'm your only one, I said dryly. Still my favorite, she said, laughing. Have you talked to Lena today? Yes, she mentioned wanting to chat with me. Great, just wanted to invite you both to dinner, I replied. Sounds nice, she said. This call delayed me, but it proved that Lena was checking to see whether I was at work. I went to the hotel and saw her automobile. I paid the cleaning woman to unlock the door. Inside, I saw a familiar back. I yanked him off the bed, flung him on the floor, and struck him. He did not fight back. Derek, stop. You'll kill him, Lena said, attempting to intercede. I rose, brushed her hands away, and said gently, Victor, don't touch me again. I contacted my secretary to let her know I wouldn't be in, and then I called 911 to report the event. Lena sat dumbfounded, attempting to speak, but I urged her to be silent. Derek, when we get home, she began. We don't have a home, I said. Stay with your mom, Lena. I won't live with a cheater. The cops came. I'm the one who called, I explained. You look fine, an officer said. I'm not, I responded, nodding to Warren, who was still asleep. I was handcuffed and led away when an ambulance came. I remained mute in the police vehicle, despite the officer's queries. At the station, I was processed and detained as a suspect. They had no evidence yet, just suspicions. I was thrown in a cell with others. Most of them were unkempt or inebriated and sat on a bench in the rear. I took the time to consider my next step. It was the ideal moment to arrange my future actions. Knowing your spouse may be unfaithful is one thing. Confronting it is quite another. Emotional attachments complicate matters, as relationships change over time. Sometimes individuals grow apart and make radical decisions, resulting in a divorce that might be a new beginning for both. Sometimes couples remain together solely to make each other unhappy. But my position was not like that. I adored Lena and wanted to spend my life with her. That's why seeing her with Warren at that hotel stung so much. It felt like a piece of my soul had been taken away. I didn't get it. We had a nice connection and were close. Warren was older, heavier, balding, and around Denise's age. Why would she select him? She chased me when we first met at a pub, where she stayed close to me all night and even made the first move with a dumb joke. I was drawn to her from the start. Now, seeing her with Warren made me worry how our neighbor Amber would respond. While I was contemplating, a police officer approached me. Victor Osmond, he murmured, approaching the bars and opening the door, 2 cops behind him, hands on their holsters. Are you going to shoot me? I inquired. No, he said. You're out on bail. By who? I inquired. Does it matter? He said anxiously. What's the charge and who posted bail? I inquired. Too many questions, he said. Do you want to get out or not? I know you deal with a lot of people and can get jaded, but this is new for me. It's my first time here. I told you. The other cops looked at him. Okay, ask, he said. It's 2 p.m., and I've been here for almost 2 hours. I caught my wife with my neighbor today. Lost my temper and just don't want to see them again. If Lena is bailing me out with my money, I'd rather stay. Sorry, man, he said. It's her. She was crying, but I wouldn't trust it. Some older guy and his lawyer spoke to the prosecutor. It looks like they want press charges, but you'll need to stay a couple of days until you're allowed to post bail. You have no record, and no one died. They departed, giving me sympathetic glances. Other detainees looked, possibly wondering why I hadn't left. I knew Lena was attempting to absolve me of guilt. I said the truth. I did not want anything to do with her. I realized that I had persuaded Denise to forgive Alan once, but I couldn't do the same for Lena. Perhaps this is how Denise felt every time Alan cheated. I couldn't believe she put up with that on so many occasions. She must have been stronger than I. It's weird how thinking about someone causes them to appear. Just when I was wondering whether Lena would confess to Denise, the cops reappeared. Victor Osmond. Another visitor, someone remarked. A beautiful woman, the officer continued. Denise? I questioned. I think she's in the interrogation room. Want to see her? Yes, I said. They handcuffed me, unlocked the cell door, and brought me into a room with glass panels and little communication openings. I sat down and faced Denise silently. Hi, Derek, she said. What happened? Lena didn't tell you? I inquired. Only that you fought Warren, went to jail, and refused her bail, she corrected. But I know something more is wrong. She cheated on me, I explained. Her expression altered. With him? She inquired, horrified. Before we could finish, a tall guy in a poor suit interfered. Are you Victor Osmond? He inquired. I nodded. Join us in the conference room when you're done, he told us. The cops uncuffed me, recognizing that I was not a flight risk. Denise cautioned me not to act on impulse. They'll call you tomorrow, I said. If I'm released, they'll send Lena to you. In the meeting room, I saw Lena, Warren, and 2 males. Lena stepped up, but I told Warren to keep back. If anyone comes near me, I'm going back to my cell, I told them. Mr. O responded, the district attorney, Harlan Drummond. We have a proposal to settle this peacefully. The lawyer, Carver, spoke up. Victor, this was an accident with serious implications. You don't need a criminal record affecting your life. I'm not concerned, I said. My career won't be impacted. Carver went on, there's no reason for anyone to suffer anymore. Who's innocent here? I inquired. Am the only one hurt? Lena began to weep. I recognized that the life I thought I had with her and my faith in Warren were illusions. What about Amber? Warren inquired. She's innocent. Amber deserves the truth, I said. She shouldn't be deceived. Warren said, please don't tell her. Carver outlined their offer. No charges if you stay silent. They'll take the charges and demand a jury trial, I told them. 12 jurors will understand why I acted as I did. They'll include Warren in my divorce and testify in Amber's case. The 4 clustered together and murmured before returning their attention to me. What do you want? They inquired. I won't tell Amber or mention you in my divorce, but you must agree to testify if needed. Drop the charges and stay at least 18 meters from me without permission. Agreed, Carver remarked with a relief grin. Wait, I know I'm within 18 meters now, but it starts once I leave, right? I said Warren. Do whatever you want with her, I said. She's not mine anymore after the divorce. She's yours. Can I go? Lena said. No, Derek, don't. She shouted. Harlan led me to the counter so I could get my belongings. I need my wallet for a cab, I explained. As I departed, I could hear Lena's sobbing echoing. When I arrived home, Amber was already outside. Where have you been? She inquired. My husband was in the wrong place and got hurt. Poor guy, I told him. This is bad, I said. Sorry, rough day. Talk later. Send your wife over, she instructed. I don't have a wife anymore, I said, walking inside. The telephone rang. It was Lena, the same phone that had revealed her adultery. I let it ring. It rang again. This time, it was Denise's number. I responded. Denise, can you? I said. Derek, you need, she said, but I hung up. 30 minutes later, Denise phoned back. I picked up. Derek, are you there? She inquired. Hi, Denise. I had to give Lena some tea and sleeping pills. She's hysterical, blaming everyone. I'm not surprised, Denise said. She blames Warren and you. She says he tricked her, and you're being cold, Denise remarked. I questioned, how am I behaving? Not like me, she said. She expected you to be more forgiving. Will it ever get better? I inquired. No, she said gently. You doubt yourself, wonder why they strayed, and compare yourself to others. Trust is lost, and every delay or absence feels like betrayal. It never really goes away. Denise, I lied to you, I acknowledged. When I urged you to go back to Alan, I thought you should have left him. You lied because Lena wanted that, and you loved her, she said. I knew you were a bad liar. Your eyes told the truth. Alan was foolish, I remarked. No one he cheated with was worth a fraction of you. It runs in the family, she said. I can't believe Lena was with Warren, I said. I'm not like you, Denise. I won't take Lena back just to be hurt again, I told her. You can't fight nature, I responded, remembering what Lena had said about her father. Maybe, Denise admits, you can train animals with effort and rewards. But I won't do that with Lena. I won't reward her for staying loyal. Cheaters will cheat. Maybe we're just good people who love the wrong partners, I joked. You raised a great daughter, I said. I have nothing left. She said, then let's not waste more time. If we move on, we prove we're strong. If we keep hoping for her, we're fools. You deserve better, Denise, and so do I. Who are you talking to, Mom? Lena interrupted. Is that Derek? She inquired. Did you tell him how sorry I am and that it wasn't my fault? Goodbye, Denise, I replied. You seem busy. Denise and I spoke often over the next several days, while neighbors, including Amber, brought meals and paid us visits. I hired a lawyer and drafted a reasonable divorce agreement that divided everything equally. However, it was not ideal for me. I didn't want Lena to go with nothing. I had no intention of reconciling. If necessary, I would consult Warren or take serious measures to defend myself. My lawyer questioned Warren, eliciting information regarding his 6-month romance with Lena. I figured it was not the first. I planned to meet with Denise and Lena to personally present the divorce papers. When I arrived, Denise let me in and Lena hurried over. I've missed you so much, she confessed. Lena, I'm here to make this easier, I said her. I didn't want a stranger handing you divorce papers. No, Derek, she said. It'll stop. It won't happen again. Give me another chance. They'll go to counseling. It won't help, I said. This affair lasted about 8 months, and Warren might not be the first. How could you lie to me and betray Amber? I demanded an explanation. It was just Ethan, Lena said. More than that, I said. We're less now. Our vows are broken, I remarked. This ring means nothing. Please, she implored. No, Lena, I said. I can't live this way. It's not fair. What if I hurt myself? She said, her voice urgent. Then there's nothing more I could do, I protested. I just step aside. You have to forgive me, she begged. Be quiet, Lena, Denise interrupted. Mom, stay out of it, Lena yelled. He won't forgive me, and I can't eat or sleep. I love him so much. Enough, Denise yelled. You're acting like the world revolves around you. I forgave Alan over and over, and maybe that made you think forgiveness is automatic. But Derek isn't me. You had a good marriage and ruined it. Now live with the consequences. Derek's hurting too, and I can't believe you did this to someone who loved you so much. Then again, she added, your father did the same to me. I'm glad he's gone. I wish I'd left him sooner. But, Mom, I'm sorry and hurting too, Lena said. You caused this, Denise remarked. You have to take responsibility. I agree, but I don't think it's bad enough for divorce, Lena said me. Isn't that for Derek to decide? Denise said. Marriage takes 2 willing partners. Stop saying that, Lena said. Haven't I been a good wife? I kept the house, cooked, gave you everything you wanted. Why can't you see the good I did instead of this one mistake? I'm lost without you. I left the room without a word. At the door, I turned back and said, Lena, get a lawyer. I want this over soon. I need to move on. When I arrived home, Amber was already outside. Hey, Derek, wait, she said, sprinting over. She was dressed in old denim shorts and a sweat-soaked t-shirt from an obscure band, most likely from gardening. Now that Lena was no longer around, her voluptuous form became more visible to me. Why are you looking at me like that? She inquired. Sorry, I apologized. Derek, just know, Warren and I are here if you need anything. I think it would help him too. He hasn't recovered from being beaten and losing his money. Helping someone else could boost his confidence, she went on. I saw her chest, and she smiled as she crossed her arms. You'll be okay, but remember, I'm married and you're not that type, she told me. I faked a grin. I know you're going through a tough time, whether you and Lena work it out or not. Maybe a break would help. I can arrange a trip through my travel agency. She volunteered, and I considered telling her the truth about Warren but ultimately decided against it. Nobody would benefit from causing her harm. Warren could be striving to be a better spouse now. It's a singles cruise, 10 days of sun and fun. It might be good for you, she said. They'll think about it, Amber, but I need to wait for the divorce, I told her. See you, Derek. You're kind. I hope Lena realizes what she's lost. Let me know about the cruise, she told me. I concentrated on completing the divorce and reconstructing my life. I sought a transfer and told why my manager had discovered an opening at our Austin factory. It was ideal for a new start. I liked the warm weather and the fact that I could drive all year. I had to leave everything and everyone I knew, but that's the way fresh starts go. When I informed Denise about my relocation, she was unhappy but understanding. She was still grieving Alan's loss and was considering traveling to Chicago to live with her sister and mother. I requested her not to inform Lena about my intentions. I won't have to, Denise said. Lena's obsessed. She spends her time watching you, terrified you'll move on, especially with Amber. She cried for hours after seeing you talk to her. It's not impossible, I said. It really is, Denise said. You love her, Derek. I saw you struggling with it the other day. I'm glad you couldn't forgive her. She's my daughter, and I love her, but I love you too. We both know who she is. At least when this is over, you'll have a friend in Arizona. When Chicago gets too cold, I said, and you'll have a place in the Rotten Apple for a bit of non-English culture. Denise laughed. Promise me we'll stay in touch. I have no choice, I said. I've only truly loved two people, and one doesn't love me back. So that leaves you. Denise's advice regarding Lena following me was beneficial. I began to notice her every time I went out. One night, I went to the cinema and saw her following me. I decided to play along, claiming to be waiting for someone and purchasing a ticket using my smartphone. I phoned Denise to let Lena know that my date was inside the theater. Lena approached, angry. I ran inside the theater, grabbed my ticket, and entered as Lena was halted by security. She couldn't figure out which of the 18 movies I was watching. I departed 2 hours later, waving as if to say farewell to someone. Stop it, Derek, Lena instructed. I know you were alone. Get used to it, I advised. I won't be alone forever. One day, they'll meet someone and start over. You already have, Lena said. She's just like me. You need to get past my one mistake. I chuckled and drove away, understanding Denise was correct. I trusted her not to divulge my intentions, but I still needed a means to go without Lena knowing. The answer came from an unexpected source. The following day, I heard a knock on my back door. Warren stood there, anxious and uncertain. I didn't want to come, he said. She made me. He looked at Amber from their porch. She waved. I yelled, "Come in," loud enough for Amber to hear. I did what you asked and appreciate your silence with Amber, but Lena is threatening to tell her everything if I don't help her win you back. She thinks it's unfair that only one of us keeps our marriage. I glanced at him, thinking that this may work to my advantage. Warren, go along with it, I urged. He seemed astonished. Does she know about the cruise Amber booked? No, I don't think so, he said. Then tell her about it. Make it seem like a chance for us to talk, trapped on the same ship. Okay. Anything to preserve my marriage, he said. The next day, Amber phoned. Derek, Lena found out about the cruise. Should I book her on a different one or put her in your cabin? She had inquired. It's a singles cruise, but I could pair you up, she said. Do you get a commission for these bookings? I questioned you. Yes, but I don't push that on friends, she said. Amber, let her pay for it all. You're doing me a huge favor. Are you two getting back together? She inquired. No chance, I said. But why? She asked. What happened between you two? She cheated on me, I said calmly. I caught them. There's no mistake. I saw it myself. There's no chance for us anymore. I just need to move on. I spent the next several days preparing for my relocation, searching for properties online, contacting moving firms, and working with the Austin office. I maintained in contact with Denise, chatting twice a day. The worst day came when Denise went for Chicago. I went to see Mom to say goodbye, and Lena was also there, preoccupied with preparations for the vacation and paying little attention to me. The moment Lena opened the door, she grinned. I miss you so much, darling, she said. I ignored her and embraced Denise hard for longer than usual. Too bad you don't hug me like that, Lena said. Maybe it's good Mom's moving to Chicago. You seem confused about who you love. Denise and I laughed. Then, Lena drove Denise to the airport. I promised Denise I'd call her daily, I told her. I wish you'd call me too, Lena responded. This divorce will take forever, and by then you'll forget why you wanted it. I noticed you withdrew a lot of money from our account, she told me. But I took some too. Isn't that funny? I went away without reacting. Lena was behaving as if we were going on a honeymoon, unaware that we'd be on the same ship but separated. She did not even contemplate the possibility that I might meet other ladies. For days later, I was prepared for the trip. Amber had planned the cruise flawlessly. Before the ship left, I phoned Lena. Lena, I'm leaving for 13 days. If you need anything about the divorce, contact my lawyer, I told her. Thanks for telling me, she said cheerfully. I hope this trip makes you realize we need each other. Not likely, I said, grinning. She also laughed. Is it so hard to admit you still love me, Derek? I do love you, I said. I just wish I was enough for you. You are enough, she admitted regretfully. I made a mistake, but it wasn't about love. It was just intimacy. Something drew me to Warren, and I don't know why. Maybe therapy will explain it. But you're the only man I love, ever. You can't argue with nature, I said before hanging up. 6 hours later, the ship was at sea, almost out of mobile range, when my phone called. I grinned at the television as I watched the waves pass by outside the window. "Where are you?" Lena shouted. "I searched the whole ship, and you're not here." "Who said IDB?" I said, laughing. "How can we fix things if we're not together?" She said, her voice quivering. "You won't let me come home. You avoid me and barely talk. I'm losing my mind, Derek. I love you." "Okay, Lena," I replied. "After the cruise, we can talk. But we won't share a bed. I'll do whatever it takes to get back into your heart," she whispered, shortly before the connection went dead. I laughed as I passed another state border. Then I phoned Denise. "Hi, Denise," I said. "Derek," she said joyously. "It's been so long since you called, almost 4 hours." I laughed. "I think I made a mistake," I said, sighing. "Can you imagine living with 2 grumpy old ladies?" Denise chuckled. "Stop it, Denise. No one would ever not want to be around you. Do you know what time it is?" She inquired. "They say time heals all wounds," I said. "They're wrong." "I forgot," she said sincerely. "My sister and I don't get along. Living with her and Mom is tough. They're so similar now, and we just clash." I laughed again. "Do you check your mirrors to make sure no one's following you?" "It's tough to keep track of a truck from a ship," I told him. She laughed. "I want to ask how you managed to get her on the ship without you. Remember those Calgon commercials?" "I had my own ancient Chinese secret," I said. "I love those," she remarked. "I should go make some tapioca for Mom." "Drive safe, dear." I arrived in Austin late the following day and put my Mustang in the garage, pleased that it would no longer have to endure the frigid winters. I began arranging and preparing the home without considering the heat or solar damage. After everything was completed, the space looked fantastic, but it didn't feel like home. It was just a gap. The day before I started my new work, my phone rang. I responded without checking the screen. "Where are you?" Lena questioned. "Why is everything gone? You said I could come home. If you're calling from home, then you're there. Isn't that what you wanted?" I corrected you. "You know this isn't what I wanted," she said furiously. "I don't want an empty house. It's as bad as this ridiculous divorce." "Victor, worry about the divorce," I advised him. "Without solid evidence, your lawyer and mine set him at a disadvantage. The case about your affair with Warren is closed." "Really?" she said, shocked. "Where are you then?" "He'll come to you." I filed again, and this time I won't be kind, I replied. She laughed. "What difference does it make? Call your lawyer, Lena. He has the file. Not only will I get a divorce, but you might end up with almost nothing. And if you want to talk, do it soon. I'm changing my number tomorrow." An hour later, Lena phoned back. "Okay, Derek. You win." I signed the papers. "How did you get the video?" I inquired. "I hired a private investigator to go on the cruise. I knew without me there, you'd indulge yourself. I gave you freedom," she told me. "You can't fight nature." "I never watched the video," I said. "I didn't want to see someone I once loved with strangers, but thanks for proving me right." "Derek, I can change," she said. "I don't think you can or should. Now we're both free. I can find someone who loves me." "You don't understand," she said. "It's me. My father loved my mom more than anything, but he still cheated. It was just Warren. What they had was real love. That's why she never left him. We're the same," she said. "You'll miss me, and when you do, it'll be here. But it'll make you regret it. You'll have to beg before I take you back." For weeks later, I called Denise and heard anguish in her voice. "Denise, what's wrong?" I inquired. "I'm fine, just feeling a little off," she said. "Victor lied to me." "I know you," I assured him. "Tell me what's going on." "Moving here was a mistake," she said. "I used most of the money from selling my house to pay back taxes and make some improvements. Now I'm stuck. I still get Alan's pension as a monthly check, but it just covers my expenses. I can't afford to move again or buy another house. I thought living with my family would be great, but I probably just didn't want to be alone. I spent over 23 years living with someone. It's good you still have family to stay with, I told you." "Oh no," she said. "You don't know what Lena's been up to since your divorce." "No, I don't," I said. "But I wasn't talking about her. Why not come here and stay with me? I've plenty of space, and I'd love to have you around." "Denise, are you serious?" she inquired. "I can't live with you. You're my daughter's ex-husband, not a husband anymore. I told you. Why don't you come visit? If you don't like it, you can always go back to Chicago." There was a pause. "Okay," she said. "Maybe a week away would be nice. I need to make sure you're okay." I paid Lena a visit at our old residence. It was really different today. Denise came to stay for a week and loved it so much that she refused to go. We spent time touring the region, something I had never done before. We also went shopping, and she had me purchase items for the home. By the end of the week, my apartment felt more like home. The notion of her going made me sad. She didn't mention anything, so I figured I'd be driving her to the airport the next day. The following morning, she prepared breakfast. "Why are you so down?" she inquired. "Our week is over." "They'll take you to the airport today," I said. "Will you be back to visit soon?" I said. "No," she said, her smile widening. "Actually, Derek, I don't think you really want me to come back. Denise, you're my best friend." "Of course I do," I said her. "Would you come back to visit?" "No," she said, her smile widening. "Because if I visit, that means I left. And I don't want that." I grinned and embraced her warmly. We exchanged another lengthy embrace, both feeling something we weren't ready to admit. The following morning, I awoke early, and Denise prepared breakfast again. "I can't send you to work hungry," she said. "Besides, I need the car for grocery shopping. Are you sure you don't want to drive the truck?" I was asking. She pouted and extended her hand. Although I never let Lena drive my Mustang, my alarms did not go off. Giving Denise the keys seemed appropriate. I put them in her hands and was greeted with a grin that made my day. After breakfast, we got in the vehicle and I went to my workplace. I expected her to depart, but she came in with me. She smiled as she visited my office and chatted with my secretary. She led me to my office. "Why aren't you with any of them?" she inquired. "Not my type," I said. She laughed. "They'll pick you up after work," she said. That evening, we cooked steaks on the patio while watching the sunset. I realized she had done more than simply shopping. She had decorated the house with paintings and trinkets to make it seem more like home. When I questioned her about it, she grinned. "I was on my feet all day, but it was worth it if you like it." "I love it." "It's beautiful," I remarked. "Wait until you see the new sheets tonight," she joked. She pulled off her shoes and began softly rubbing her feet while sighing and relaxing. I increased the pressure on her ankles and calves. Her head leaned back, her eyes closed. I paused there, shocking both of us. She grinned. "That was amazing," she remarked. I nodded, wondering what to say. Over the following 2 weeks, our connection gradually grew. What I had always felt for Denise sprang to the surface. Evenings with her were the highlight of my days. Would take lengthy walks along quiet roads and shoot the surroundings. Would travel to the city for movies or new restaurants on occasion, but the peaceful evenings at home were our favorite. I often recommended going out, worried about what would happen if we spent too much time alone. Denise routinely requested massages, some for her feet, others for her neck and shoulders. The massages became more vigorous with time. Foot massages would begin from her feet and finish above her knees, while shoulder rubs would sometimes touch the top of her breast. After roughly 5 months of living together, a tipping point occurred. It was Denise's birthday, and I wanted to make it memorable. I purchased her a diamond necklace and made a reservation at one of the city's most premium restaurants. Dinner was fantastic, and a violinist sang a light jazz version of Happy Birthday. When I slid the box across the table, her eyes brightened up at the sight of the necklace. She gasped. "Will you put it on me?" she inquired. When the little diamonds on the pendant shone between her collarbones, something changed between us. I saw her smiling and pointing behind me. "That waiter's a little forward," she said, smiling. "He said, 'Sir, your wife is the most beautiful woman here.'" "You're right," I said. "I should have said thank you." "You should have corrected him," Denise said, laughing. "He thought we were married." "I couldn't say thank you," I said, "because it would imply I had a hand in your beauty. And I couldn't correct him because I don't mind if people think we are." We took a minute to stare at one another, knowing something had changed. We were prepared for the next move. "Are you ready for dessert?" the waiter said. "Yes," Denise said. "Can we take it home and eat it there?" Hearing her name my place home made me feel cozy inside. It was the first time she had done so, and it meant a lot to me. When we returned, it seemed like the perfect conclusion to an incredible evening. Maybe I was growing older, but at 33, I was satisfied. I didn't need any more. A year ago, if Lena and I went out and the night didn't conclude with intimacy, I would have been dissatisfied. But seeing Denise stroll in front of me, her hips swaying smoothly under her dress, was plenty. Her lovely grin was the highlight of the event, in contrast to Lena's smile, which was more about teeth and lips. Denise's grin illuminated her whole face and seemed to emanate from her heart. I treasured these times and would do everything to protect them. Lena's words rang in my mind. The woman I should spend my life with looks like this. She was referring to herself, but I recognized Denise suited the description. She was more loving, and I could fully trust her. I changed out of my suit and hung it up. While bathing, I relived the evening's highlights and hoped Denise had a wonderful birthday. When I got out and went into bed, the covers were warm, and I puzzled how Denise had done it until I discovered I wasn't alone myself. "What?" I said, astonished. Her voice was quiet. "This is special. I didn't want the night to end this way. I'm not my daughter, Derek," she whispered quietly. "I'm not a young girl anymore, but it's been a year since Alan died. I'm still a woman. I've noticed you haven't dated or been with anyone these past 5 months. I think we both need this." She leaned forward, her lips brushing across mine. "Let's make 2 rules," she said. "First, no strings attached. It's just tonight. Second, in the morning, we forget this happened and never talk about it, okay?" "Sorry, Denise, but I can't do this," I informed her. "I know there's an age difference, Derek, but I'm not that bad," she told him. "I get it," I said. "You haven't been with anyone for months." "I know I'm not, Lena." "Denise, stop talking nonsense," I murmured, my tone soft. "I'm glad you're not, Lena." "I got through that," I said. "What happened on that ship erased any feelings I had left for her." Denise grinned and reached for me again. "I never said I didn't want you. I told you. It's your rules I can't handle. I don't want to risk ruining what we have, Denise. But if we do this, it won't just be intimacy for me. I could never pretend to forget it. As for commitment," I went on, "we already have it. The waiter and everyone at work think we're married. I want that commitment with you, Denise. I want ties. I want real bonds." She leaned forward to kiss me. A kiss that felt so beautiful that I wanted to have it for the rest of my life. Our lips touched tenderly, then pushed harder, our tongues probing, seeking connection, as if attempting to extract one other's essence. "I love you, Denise," I said quietly. 5 months, she said quietly back. "I can't believe we waited this long," she told me. "We couldn't do it any sooner," I said. "We're not the type to just sleep around." "Maybe not," she said, laughing. "But we both love deeply and exclusively." When I returned home the following evening, I found supper and more waiting for me. Denise had made certain that everything was flawless, as if to convince me that the night before had not been a one-time occurrence. She giggled and said, "Can you do that again?" While she prepared the table. We established a rule: never discuss Alan or Lena. We put the past behind us and concentrated on the future. We had so many fresh experiences, there was no place for old scars. We did a lot of things together for the first time, and it felt exhilarating, like we were creating something new. Despite the fact that everyone felt we were so serious, we never discussed marriage. We were too preoccupied with the now and planned for the future to reflect on it. Things went nicely until reality caught up with us. We made a mistake. When Denise moved in, we needed to transport her items from Chicago. Lena searched for her mother and contacted her grandmother and aunt, who, unknowing of our position, gave us the address. What followed was a string of bad coincidences. On a Monday, I went shopping for a barbecue and planned a peaceful day with Denise on the deck hammock. While I was away, Lena appeared on our doorstep. Denise had no option but to allow her in, expecting that I'd leave long enough for her to send Lena on her way. But Lena immediately understood her mother was not living alone, and her companion was a male. Denise confirmed, saying, "I'll meet you for breakfast tomorrow." Lena drove off, but she saw and recognized my automobile. Denise got lost for a long since she was unfamiliar with the routes, and by the time I arrived home, she had decided not to convey any bad news until we had some time to relax. We were grilling steaks and nearly entirely relaxed, with Denise jokingly screaming for me to refill her glass, when we saw someone staring over our 6-foot fence. Lena's eyes widened in surprise as she started screaming like a banshee. We allowed her in, despite the fact that she seemed ready to explode. "I can't believe any of you," she said, particularly at Denise. "What would Alan think? How could you get involved with your daughter's ex-husband?" "We're not married anymore," I responded, trying to keep my voice calm. "Then why are you here?" Lena questioned. "I came looking for my mom," she remarked with displeasure in her voice. "I thought she'd help me find you, not replace me. I need some help." "What kind of help?" I inquired. "I've lost most of the money you left me, and am close to losing my house. I was hoping you'd give me another chance," she added with sadness. "Sorry, Lena, but that's not going to happen," I said firmly. "You can't fight nature." "Yes, you can," she insisted. "If you really try, anything's possible. I swear I've changed." I smiled slightly. I was talking about Denise and me. It's in our nature to love deeply and stay that way. We can't fight it. Lena looked at me in surprise. Go home, I instructed. They'll put some money in your account, but you'll need to find a job. Why can't I stay here with you? She inquired. Lena, your presence only reminds me of what you did and makes me angry all over again. That's why I left the city in the first place. Do you need money or not? I said, my patience becoming thin. Of course, she said, then turned to Denise. You're the one who doesn't want me here, aren't you? Denise said nothing, but her eyes told me she was over the drama. You know that if I had a chance to fight for him, you'd lose, Lena remarked bitterly. And Derek just goes along with you like before. He's confused, thinking he loves you, but deep down he still loves me. He stays because you're like me, but he knows you won't betray him. Denise and I both chuckled at Lena's comments. We'd spoken about her and our history so much that it no longer touched us. I would always choose Denise's politeness and calm demeanor over Lena's impulsiveness. Denise recognized that she was the only woman who had my attention, and my strong feelings for her were a tremendous draw for both of us, keeping our relationship alive and full of energy. We were entering a new chapter in our life, free of the old hurts. Lena departed the following morning, still upset that we hadn't let her remain. It would have been quite unpleasant for all of us. Denise and I were pleased with our lives as they were. We felt somewhat guilty for what had happened to Lena, but we really wanted to go on with our lives. Later, we realized that Lena had relationships with other guys in the area, including several of our acquaintances. This became the topic of neighborhood gossip. Amber challenged a group of males who were leaving Lena's residence. You should be ashamed for embarrassing your wives with the neighbor's affair, Amber told me. One of the males said, mind your own business and watch your own husband. They confessed that Warren had been the first person in the area to date Lena, which is why I divorced her and fled. Amber approached Warren. 2 days later, he confessed. When Lena arrived home and brought her luggage inside, she got a weird sensation. She considered phoning someone to brighten her spirits, but as she grabbed for the phone, she saw Amber sitting in the dark. I thought we were friends, Amber remarked with tears in her eyes. We are, Lena said, surprised. You had everything. A good home, a great life, a husband who adored you. Why wasn't that enough? Lena acknowledged, I didn't think he'd find out. I love him, but I couldn't control myself. It's probably in me, like my father. You can't fight nature. Once that desire takes hold, it can't be stopped. Let me try to stop it, Amber said, aiming a tool at Lena. Amber dialed 911 and waited for the cops. It was declared a crime of passion. Warren agreed to wait for Amber and pay her a visit every week. Denise and I were finally married. Stories were written about us, and although it is more frequent today, it was still news when a woman over the age of 35 successfully brought her pregnancy to term. We have twins. Death is always terrible, and we would not wish it on anybody. Alan and Lena were both victims of their own impulsive behavior. It was tragic, but lyrical, that Lena did not learn from her father's faults and suffered the same fate. It turns out that you can't argue with nature. Life carried ahead, punctuated by periods of peaceful delight and contemplative tranquility. Denise and I fell into a comfortable rhythm, as if we'd always been destined to share this chapter together. Our twins, brilliant and full of life, re-energized the home, their laughing ringing in areas that had before been still. The past, with its shadows and betrayals, felt like a distant storm we had weathered, leaving only a recollection of the lessons it had taught us. Sometimes, when I watched Denise play with the twins or sat on the porch drinking tea in comfortable stillness, I wondered at how life, full of unforeseen turns, had led us here. There were days when old regrets tried to reappear, but the present was much too important to let them stay. Lena's destiny was a terrible chapter, a reminder that certain tendencies were more difficult to change than others. It presented as a warning story, contrasting sharply with Denise and my newfound devotion. We had rebuilt our lives not just on the ashes of previous wounds, but also on the foundation of understanding, forgiveness, and a dedication to each other's happiness. The neighborhood ultimately moved on from the controversy, with gossips finding other tales to talk about. Amber, who had become a symbol of both treachery and ardent love, finally established her own life far away from the haunting memories of that night. Denise and I became older, wiser, and more confident in what we had. Our twins, now adolescents, would frequently taunt us, calling ours a late-blooming love story. But the truth was evident in those teasing words. Life doesn't always go as planned, but what comes after the storm may be even more lovely. I never looked back with bitterness. Instead, I learned to respect the strength it required for us to discover one another among the rubble. Denise would often grin at me with that warm, knowing expression that had originally captivated my heart, and I could feel the unspoken tie between us deepen, proof that, with the right person, you don't simply fall in love. You make it stronger than before. Thank you for watching. Do you believe trust can be re-established after betrayal? Please leave your opinions in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.